जितेंद्र गौर अपना है क्या जितेंद्र?
नहीं सर, ये तो स्टूडेंट ही होगा जितेंद्र बोल।
पाँच बच्चे हैं। इवनिंग हो गया।
अभी आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं धीरे धीरे, जैसे थोड़ी सा।
हाँ, लिखें क्या है, बोले क्या है?
हाँ सर।
Hello everyone, good afternoon. So we will have the interaction today. Yeah, question number 6 of assignment 7. What was that? Can you let me know? Or should I look at the question out myself? What is the confusion basically? Can you tell me? So this course is finished. Actually, all the lectures and assignments are over, and hopefully you are fully prepared for the exam, which is going to happen on Sunday. See, Mr. Jitendra, the thing is that normally we call it as say more than 5% or 6%. There has to be minimum for the material to be ductile. The thing is that even a ductile material can show very small amount of elongation. If the conditions are different, suppose you are casting a ductile material, and if the stresses are quite high, in those cases the ductility will be quite low. It will be 1%, 2% or even 3%, 4% or so. Normally, and when you heat treat them, so in that case its ductility will be increased. So ductility more than 10% you can say. And as you know that ductility means it has to be drawn into, must be able to be drawn into the wire form, and it also depends upon the temperature. So as the temperature is increased, that ductility will be increased. So there are many things, but normally not ductility higher value, you can see that you may go up to 18 to 20% of ductility or even more in some cases. So you have this, Mr. Sidhu, you have should say that you have posted in my previous discussion is supporting soft copy of data textbook related to above question. Rod drawing, wire drawing is attached from the previous textbook for your kind. Process in manufacturing by this, okay, fine. Question related to validity of both processes, of which the following statement is correct for the rod and wire drawing. So what is that question? I think the question is something like which of I'm reading that question again. So that question reads which of the following statement is correct for rod and wire drawing. Draw benches are used for drawing of rods and tubes. On the draw benches, rods are first pointed using switcher and then inserted through the die and moved using a chain driver hydraulic mechanism. So which is correct? So in this case, actually, you know that it has to go insert into that, so that's why we are making it pointed, and then it is being pulled. So that's how. So that's its answer is the both the answers are correct for the wire drawing or rod drawing. So where is the confusion in that? ये क्या है? What is that? Question number 7.
This is the assignment 7 का question number 6.
It is question 6 of assignment 7.
ये आपका slide का question है.
We can remove this wire from this statement because it is only for rods. We had sent a query actually. I will just look at the query which was posted by you, Mr. Sidhu. So just see that what is basically you want to tell, what you are suggesting. Kindly, if it will be better if you just write the query here. So you had, I think you had written a mail to us, and I think you had a talk with him, and you were approached by the TA of the course. So and it looks the question is fine. Actually, the wire term may be extra in this slide because we have in the first line it is for rod and tube, and then it is for rod only. But then you have in both these cases you have to draw. Yes. Actually, these are the standard statements, so we did not change. Yeah, as far as the question is concerned, see, rod and wire drawing, if you look at in both these cases, you have to pull from one side. So if you look at that question statement, the statement tells that the draw benches are used for drawing of rods and tubes which cannot be coiled, and on the draw benches rods are first pointed using switcher and then inserted through the draw and moved using a chain drive or hydraulic mechanism. So maybe you will have to neglect this term like wire drawing, but for rod drawing it is for rod drawing it is okay. For in the case of wire drawing we coil, so that is one thing. So that we will try to address this issue. In that case for rod drawing, so maybe in the question we will try to have only rod drawing, so that will be more appropriate. Sixth question, just a minute. Sixth question, yeah. This is a question, so for this question answer is 6. See, for rod drawing anyway, but today is the last date when this is. So maybe if you attempt, we can have this, that we can send a message that for this also if you have not given this answer, what answer you think should be correct, that is also should be for rod and wire drawing, so one will not work. So anyway, so that can be left for the evaluation. That message can be sent. So if there is confusion because of the wire drawing term, that can be removed. Yeah, so we will try to change the answer. We can have the answer, or maybe we will not. We will ask not to evaluate this because that may create confusion. In that case. So, or else if somebody has given C or D even. That can be taken as one of the correct answer. So, but if you look at the rod blocks are used, so draw benches will be used for the drawing of rods as well as wires, so it has to be used, but tubes cannot be coiled. So and also rods also we don't coil. So so that way we can have this as that benefit can be given to candidates if you have given D also, so that can be also considered as the correct answer in most cases. Yeah, you are right that C holds good only for rod drawing. That you are right. Yes, there will be numerical problems also in the final exam. Fifth question of assignment 5. So we just will have a look at the assignment 5 of question 5. So we can have, I will try to note it down, and it will be so if you look at assignment 5 of 5 and question 5, yeah, so yes, that also message I had got. And this is which of the following statement correct for indirectly compressive type of forces. So force is applied to the surface of workpiece and metal fluid at right angles to the direction of compression. So that is not so that is force is applied to the surface of workpiece and metal fluid at right angles to the direction of compression. This is correct for indirect. Primary forces are frequently tensile, but indirect compressive forces are developed, and indirect compressive. I think its answer is 2 and 3. Is it? Its answer 2 and 3. Well, but when we talk about the so basically, if you look at this question, yeah, I feel that its answer will be 2 and 3. That's what I also feel. Yes, because the first line, first is about the direct compressive force, not indirect compressive force. Yeah, so you know that that you are right, that if you look at this text in the book of Dieter, it is clearly written. Yeah, you are right that in the book of Dieter, so we can have this book, and in the direct compression force. So when you have the force applied to surface of workpiece, and when the metal is flowing at right angles, so to the direction of compression, that is direct compressive force. So one will not work. Okay, we have to change this answer. So assignment 5 we have to evaluate as the 2 and 3, and for the second one is the indirect type of forces. So in that you have primary applied forces are tensile, and indirect compressive forces are developed because of reaction of the workpiece. So that is there. So and wire drawing and tail. So certainly in that this is applicable. So you are right. In this case, we will have the option 2 and 3. So for question 5 of assignment 5, option C will be correct. You are right about it. And for question assignment 7 of Mr. Dr. Sidhu, in that we will try to see either maybe we have to see that either C or D may be taken as correct. So and Thank you very much, Dr. Sidhu. No, in the wire drawing also, if you look at, because you see directly you are you are pulling, and then because the indirect compressive forces are developed, and then there is flow of the material. So that's why it takes as the indirect compression case in the case of wire drawing also. See, you just refer to the books. You just go to these assignments. So you will have, from assignment you have 30% of the questions, and recall is anyway, because you have to just recall certain questions. So you have also recall, that is 20%, is it? So recall is 20%, and then you have 50% is the open. So in that you are supposed to answer the questions of numerical type also, as well as the match, the column type, or the multiple choice type. So you need to be prepared for it. So if you have gone through those lecture slides and also referred the books, then you will be able to do it. No, I mean, I will suggest that maybe C or D, many of them can be made correct, so that students can be benefited. So that is what I would like to suggest. And recall Mr. The name half engineer. So I would like to say, recall means it's simply based on what we have studied. Normally, based on fundamentals, which you can quickly recall after it will be simpler questions that was discussed during the course, during the lectures. So that is a type of recall question. So you can quickly have the idea. As soon as the question is posted, you don't, there is, it's not that it is not discussed. Normally, these are those questions which we have already discussed, but not from the assignment. Yes, if you are studying 2 years assignment answers, certainly, I mean, more number of questions if you go through, it will help you in the exams, but what percentage, that cannot be told at this stage. As you go and study more and more number of courses will certainly help you, because it increases your confidence, and and you will be able to score more. Mr. Sidhu, actually you are telling that not other options, so that may not be correct, because the second option where, or first option also where we have thought of inserting by making it pointed, that is true for wire drawing. So basically people may get confused, and I don't want anyone to suffer because of that point. So because in the no, you are right. You will be getting the marks for your answers. So if you have written that, the thing is that we will have a look at it, and we will see, because the second point, what was the second point in that? That question assignment 7, question 6. Yeah, we can have a look at these points, and accordingly we can suggest the NPTEL office to have, because D is anyway correct for that. But many a times what happens, that people think of rod drawing, and rod and wire drawing many a times are taken synonymously. So maybe it's not there also complete mistake. So I will have just ask, in that case. So so keeping that in mind, I am telling at this stage that maybe for both for C and D will be correct, but yeah, you are right actually. For that answer, actually correct will be none of these. So if you talk about both rod and wire drawing, but the thing is that I will have to just ask that how many students have done given for C and how many for D. So just that is the thing. Assignment 1, question number 3. Can you give me some idea about that? What is where is the confusion persisting? So Yeah, so the question is that hmm. So we have the question. Yeah, actually this was intended for most of the sheet metal forming processes, and when we, but certainly yes, in sheet metal we have the use of even other kind of also forces, so like bending or so. But in shearing operations we need these shear type of forces. And even we also use the tensor type forces. Yeah, so certainly there are other forces also in other sheet metal operations. So shearing will be in those shearing applications only. Normally, shearing was it was that kept in mind. So generalized in generalized way, the answer may not be 100% right. Only the shearing type of force, because in most of the in other processes, like as you will see the stretch forming or so, you apply the tension type of forces. So maybe that that question also needs consideration. So it will be assignment 1 question 3. So we will have a look at it. Yeah, you are right. So it was intended for shearing operation, and normally when we talk about and that is only for sheet metal. So that is why, but in sheet metal also the primarily your tensile is also there. So tensile as well as the you know shear both should work in this case. When we apply the forces on sheet metal, that
शेयरिंग फोर्स का जो सबसे ज़्यादा रहता है, टेंशन का मैग्नीट्यूड बहुत ही कम रहता है.
yeah, only in limited cases, but it is for suppose for stretch forming we use tensile. But otherwise, when we you go for other things, so that way. So C and D both can be suggested to be correct. Thank you. Yeah, you are right. So that's why we suggest maybe that this both C and D should be considered correct in that case. Although for stress forming only we have the use of tension force, and but apart from that we also have the bending type of force. So it is also used many a times. But in most of the cases, shearing is involved. So had we used these most of the processes, then perhaps the shearing could have been the unique answer. Maybe that more correct answer. But in this case, I would like to see that. If you look at this is not by shearing means certainly shearing means that is normally the shear force. Although if you look at the plastic deformation, shear force or shearing stress is the main force which is used. But when we go for shearing, that time in that case it is mostly valid. But you know. That is mainly for that shearing operation, that is making either using the shear or when we are going for the blanking or punching, or even in the case of sheep rib drawings, kind of things. There also you have. So that is also because. There will be the shear force. So that way that shearing is coming into picture. So so that way shear is important. Shear stress, in fact, you should think of. So that is there. Calculation of assignment in terms of percentage. There will be 30%. You will have suppose 50 questions of 2 marks. So you will have 15 questions from assignment and 10 questions of recall type and 25 questions of the open type. So altogether 15 questions of 2 mark. So so it is 30 marks. So it is 30%. So that way it is calculated. That is how the percentage is determined.
Best 6 years. Out of 8 assignments, best 6 assignments.
Yeah, you have answered best of 6. Okay, for the assignment. Okay, assignment is I think 30%.
70% of the final exam.
No, final marks scoring. Final score maybe.
30 mark का assignment में 70 का exam.
30% is So suppose you are scoring out of 100, so it's 70% will be taken, and whatever score no, see, you are, if the 30% is the assignment and 70% is the, no, I was talking about the questions of from assignment in the final exam. Now I think you want to know how there is weightage of these assignment marks, in the final marks. So it will be like this, that 30% will be for the assignment and 70% will be 70% for the from the final exam. So if suppose, okay, 25%. So 25% and 75% will be the okay, so fine. So if 75% is the final exam and this is 25%, it means in the final exam is of 100 marks, so its 75% will be taken, so it will be of 75 marks. And if best 6 is taken, so 60 marks, so that will be mapped to 25. So, and then it will be added. So accordingly, you will be getting score out of 100, and then it will be graded. So you will have the different categories based on the marks you get. So that is very simple. Accordingly, so out of best 6, you will have 60 marks. We have the assignment of 10 marks or 15 marks. 10 marks, so you have 60 marks of an assignment, so that will be mapped to 25%, 25 marks. And then you have the 100 marks question of the final exam, and that will be mapped to 75%, so 75, so that is 75% will be taken. So accordingly, and then you add them and you will get the final marks. So that will be the process of having the total marks. Is it clear? लिखता है क्या? Is it attached? No, see, the thing is that you have, first of all those assignments checked. Your marks will be there from the assignment. Your best 6 assignment marks will be taken, and whatever marks you get, so if it is 25%, so you have to see that out of 25 how much you get. So if you are getting 20 out of 60, so out of 25 you will get 8.33. So 8.33 will be there, and then so if it is 25%, okay, so and then once you get 100, In 100 it will be 0.75 times. So suppose in 100 you are getting 95 or 96, so 0.75% of that, so that will be 72. So out of 75 you got 72, and then you got 8.33 here. So 72 plus 8.33, it will be 80.33. Okay, so if you are getting 100, so in 100 75, and then you have 8.33 there, so you will be getting 75 plus 8.33 like that. So this is how these final marks will be coming up. Thank you very much. So what I feel that you just have the proper revision, and also the the mathematical relations, that mathematical equations which have been discussed. So all those simple expressions you can have the division, and then you can solve some simple problems also. In industry, which load of stress is considered for metal forming? As in the road textbook and data, there are many researchers who have suggested different equations. See, we have already told that when we talk about the equations, see, all that those equations are derived, and you will have the different way of deriving the equations, and you have to now for calculating the load or stress. So you normally use these slab methods for having that expression for the load calculation or the stress calculation. So in most of the cases we use these slab methods, because that is the easy method. Otherwise it becomes difficult to calculate using other methods like sublime field theory or other. So normally we use these methods, and just like we had done the derivation for forging process, rolling process. So in all these processes we use these slab method for finding that expression for the load calculation or other things. Thank you. Yeah, in the exam, all the questions are compulsory. You have 50 questions, and all the questions are required to be answered. And the pattern of questions in exams, so as you might have been informed that you will have, these are the multiple choice type of questions. You will have questions of recall type or from the assignments and the open type. So you have to have proper practice of the questions which you have solved and which has been solved in the class and what has been discussed in the class. So you will have to have the proper practice of those things. So that will help you, and certainly for having the best result, you should have the practice of solving the numerical problems for topics which we have covered, like for for the metal forming operations, or on the different topics like in rolling or normal deformation or stress and strain, or about the extrusion and all. So you may expect the questions wherever the mathematical expressions exist. You can expect questions from there. Is it fine? And if it is so, then we will be concluding the session. So I think we have discussed in length, and I will try to have any thought and try to incorporate whatever we discussed for the reevaluation or the modification, so that the students get the proper weightage of marks for his assignments also. And rest is fine. So I hope that you will be comfortable in giving the exams, and I thank you for your effort in being present here and take part in this session. Thank you very much.